there, it's sort of the first three quarters were a bit of an arm wrestle, and like you were in it for quite a while. But did you sort of see as I guess the statistical domination, the way numbers just sort of overwhelmed you in the end?
Yeah, no. Like the reality is, if you get beaten by minus 22 in contested ball and the clearance numbers are out of control as well, we'll probably, up against it. I thought their midfield beat ours. That's what it came down to at the end of the day. We knew their strength was their midfield, and we went up against it and we lowered our colours today. Look, our mids have been pretty good. We expect better. They're a proud group. We expect them to bounce, but the fact of the matter is, I thought our midfield got beaten by theirs today.
Pretty simple. Yeah, and you look at a guy like Patrick Cripps up close and personal for you to go to midfield. It's a pretty good education, I guess.
Yeah, it's not the first time I've seen Patrick Cripps up close and personal, to be honest. He's a wonderful player, and he's why people come to the footy to watch players like that, compete. And he was terrific today. And we just had no answer. We put Rowley on him, we put Touk on him, we put Noah on him, and he's just one of those guys. He's so big and so strong. So, we just couldn't get it done today.
I don't want to say frustrating, but how do you react after you had such a big high last week and 9 days later? It's you have this result. How do you sort of react to it? Is it disappointing? Did it feel like maybe just a little drop after such a high last week?
Yeah, it is. You've got to remember we're 11 games in, into our journey. So I keep saying to the players, there's two things. The art of coaching is knowing why you lose, and we've got a really good understanding of why we lost the game today. But it's also the fact that, I can't remember the second one, what I was going to say actually, but anyway, we knew why we lost, but the fact of the matter is we've got a long way to go with regard to our journey. We played a side that, was up against it. They were disappointing last week. They got a touch up. They were always going to come out firing. We knew that. Their contest, their pressure and their defence is always going to be strong, and ours is pretty strong for 3 quarters as well. It was an arm wrestle, and then they opened the game up, at the start of that last quarter. So we just couldn't get the game back on our terms. Look, it was disappointing. Of course it's disappointing. We want to win every game. But the fact of the matter is we're on the start of a journey. We've got a fair way to go. But it's always 1 step back, 2 steps forward. We'll get some good learnings out of this game, some things that we know and some things that we can take.
So. Mac Andrew, how big a learning curve to take? Because it felt like he was everywhere early, and then a player like Charlie Curnow can just explode on you.
Yeah, I still thought Mac was one of the best players on the ground. Once again, with supply, there were a couple he got off, Mac, obviously, but I thought he was pretty good today. I thought he's one of our better players, and, once again, you can see that Mac Andrew, Charlie Curnow contest happening for a long period of time. So, yeah, it was a good contest. Charlie obviously took the goal rewards sort of thing, but I thought Mac was pretty solid overall.
It's very early in his career. How exciting can this kid be? Because, as you said, the first 3 quarters he was one of the best on the ground, probably ended up still being one of the best on the ground.
Yeah, Mac, well, it's up to him. He's got incredible talent. It's a great pick by our footy club, and, it's up to Mac to determine that. What I do love is he's incredibly competitive, he's combative, and he's understanding the game of AFL footy. Sometimes it takes players a little bit of time to grow up, and he's experienced some adversity with regard to that in his first couple of years at the footy club, but he's growing as a person and as a player, but more importantly he's growing as a person. So he's a pleasure to coach, and he's only going to get better and better.
You mentioned it's obviously only 11 games into the journey, but a mini trend of the away form. I think 0-5 now away from Darwin or Carrara. Is that a little bit of a concern?
Oh, look, we'd like to win away. We sort of once again set ourselves to leave our mark here, and it wasn't today. But look, we had a crack. We just weren't quite good enough. The positions that have normally been strong for us probably let us down today. I thought our keys were well beaten, and theirs obviously on top, and our midfield battle was soundly beaten by theirs today. So it's going to be tough to have 2 really strong parts of our game not functioning well.
And I guess Lloyd Johnson provided a bit of a highlight, had that backflip in the first quarter.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's an amazing story. He's going to be incredible talent for us, and he's only, once again, he's a very young player, 20 years of age, hasn't played footy for a long period of time. It's an incredible story that our footy club has given him an opportunity to play the game that he loves, and we can see the potential in him. He's a really, really hard worker, got great diligence, but once again, he's only scratching the surface of the player we think he can become.
Up to be dream time tonight, and you want to be there for the first time in quite a long time.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's fun. Look, what I will say, indigenous round. Look, we lost today. We lose today, but we're very lucky to be a part of it, I reckon. And the strength of our game and the indigenous players, what they bring to our game is paramount. And their numbers are decreasing at the moment, and we've got to figure out a way to get them back into the game. And whether there's things inside our control or outside our control, I'm not too sure. But the more we promote and bring in, and there'll be some levers that we can pull, we've got to look at. Because, you look at players like Lloyd, we've a number of players playing today that are really, really special and can do some special things, backflips being one of them. Yeah. What I will say, there's 131 effective tackles today, and there were 4 holding the balls for both sides. That one where Mac Andrews had Charlie Curnow at the start, that is a very, very dangerous situation for both players. 1 for Charlie and 2 for Mac. We've just got to get on top of this because the players certainly owe each other a duty of care, but as umpires, we've got to blow the whistle earlier because the reality is they're putting players in a really compromising position that they could get hurt, and we don't want that. So we've got to look at it, we've got to coach it. I know it's incredibly hard, but, from a players' health and well-being point of view, we've just got to make sure, for the benefit of the game, that we look after the players.
Is that when they get swung 360?
Yeah, there's a lot of that going. Well, free kick will blow the whistle. It's hard. Look, the game there's a reason I set up in the coach's box. I don't want the umpire's job because he's that bloody tough. But we've got to figure out a way to make it easier. I don't know what that is, but, today there was a couple of situations, for both sides where we've just got to be mindful of those.
Is the alternative to that the player that has to sling him to the ground to stop it? Is that why it's dangerous?
Definitely dangerous. Like that one there, Max holding him up. That was probably the extreme example, and it doesn't happen that often, but it was too long. So it had to be one way or the other.
So I remember you mentioned it was a few weeks back now in Ballarat where it was Raul and Liberatore going at it. Does it just feel like it hasn't gone away? It's still holding the balls, just not getting pinged early?
Well, we watch a lot of footy, obviously, and we notice it. Now, once again, what we do about it, I'm not too sure. Like, it is hard. It's incredibly challenging. But what it does lead to is a lot of stoppages, a lot of sprawls and all that sort of stuff. So I'm not too sure. But we've got to look at it and make sure we can sit there and look after the players' health and safety, I think.
Any injuries? Was Walter just tactical?
Yeah, it was. We just needed to get some, speed around the ball.
Yeah.
So.
Sam, just one of those illnesses where it's out today and should be...
Yeah, well, hopefully. He's unfortunately he came down with it. I can't remember what night it was, but we flew him in late. Thought he might be okay. He thought he'd be okay as well, but then just wasn't feeling very well this morning. So it was one of those ones. Let's just take the week and get him right for next week. He's a big loss, obviously, and you have players move out of the side, but he's in pretty good form at the moment. Thanks, guys. Sup.